Hey, I'm Eli Morgan, and I might have set a Texas record for the most hated neighbor ever. Why? I cut off water to 342 homes in a blazing summer heat wave. Sounds harsh. Huh. But wait, they dug a pipeline through my family's ranch without asking. Picture this: Cynthia Elton, HOA Queen, with 300 blonde highlights and a belly jiggling under her red t-shirt, pounding my door, begging for water. I just sip my iced tea and smile. Before we dive in, drop a comment. Tell me where you're listening from. Trust me, this story gets wilder than a longhorn stampede. Stick around. For 10 years, I lived in Silicon Valley's glow, coding shipping software. Not sexy, but it paid. Then, one call flipped my world. My dad, hands calloused from honest work, died of a heart attack. By the time I reached Texas, he was gone. The funeral, a haze of strangers, and stories about a dad I hadn't seen enough. In his final years, as the only son, I inherited the Morgan Ranch, 15 acres of Texas heartland, 3 generations strong, not huge, but ours. My mom, Peggy, 68, tough as mesquite, swore she could manage alone. One evening, on our porch, as sunset splashed orange and purple, she looked at me. "Eli," she said, "your dad knew this land would wait for when you're ready to come home." I stared at the hills, the old oaks, the creek glinting in the dusk. Something stirred. Maybe this was my place. I took a sabbatical, moved to the ranch. 2 weeks in, trouble hit. A fancy envelope, embossed logo, landed in our mailbox. An invite to a welcome party at Clear Hollow Ridge Community Center. Clear Hollow Ridge, the swanky neighborhood next to our ranch. Built 5 years ago. Dad grumbled about them. City slickers, raising mansions, then griping about farm smells. He'd say, I wanted to skip it, but Mom nudged. Your dad was stubborn. You can try fresh. So, I went. The community center, a glass fortress, with windows framing their fake lake. I showed up, in jeans and a button-up, out of place among cocktail gowns and slick smiles. Then, she appeared. Cynthia Elton, 50, obese, belly bulging in a tight red t-shirt, black pants, short blonde bob screaming expensive dye. Her smile never touched her icy eyes. Eli Morgan, so pleased you're here, she said, her diamond ring flashing as we shook hands. That voice, pure honey. But I sensed a snake. She wasn't alone. Richard Coleman, silver hair, eyes sharp as thorns, loomed behind. The HOA's vice president. After small talk, Cynthia pulled me to a corner, overlooking their ritzy estates. Eli, she began, fake warmth oozing. We're so sorry about your father's passing. Quite a character. Character. Like that was praise. Then, the pitch. Your ranch, quaint as it is, worries our residents. About property values. She offered to buy our land, 40% below market, like it was charity. I sipped my sparkling water, staying cool. Cynthia, I said, thanks, but I'm not selling. This ranch is our legacy. I'm keeping it. Her smile froze. I get sentimentality. Eli, but be practical. You're a tech guy, not a rancher. What's that land good for? My jaw tightened, but I held steady. My answer's no. Now, My mom's expecting me. As I turned, her manicured hand, red nails gleaming, grabbed my arm. Think it over. Eli, neighbors, can make life easy or hard. Threat delivered, plain as day. Driving home, I replayed her words. What had Dad endured all those years? I told Mom, and she sighed, heavy with memory. They've pushed your father to sell for years. Started nice, turned nasty. She handed me a folder, stuffed with 15 HOA violation notices for weeds or messy equipment. Our ranch isn't even under their rules. This is harassment, I growled, scanning the pages. Mom nodded, her gray eyes blazing. Your dad never folded. Now, they think you're soft. Next morning, I checked our fence. By Clear Hollow's edge, I stopped cold. Freshly turned dirt. A pipeline, barely buried, snaked through our land. From our creek to their neighborhood. No permission, no notice. Cynthia Ilton, with her jiggling belly and fake smile, thought she could steal our water, like she stole Dad's peace. But I'm a Morgan, forged in Texas dirt. She's picked the wrong fight. I'll make her pay. For every stolen drop, my friends, ever faced a bully. Like Cynthia, drop your story in the comments. I want to hear it. If you're cheering me on to take her down, smash that like button. It's a spark for justice. Stay tuned. This water war is just getting started. That pipeline, slithering through our ranch, was no mistake. It was theft, bold and shameless, and I wasn't letting it go. I called Sarah Martinez, my old college friend, now a real estate lawyer with a nose for dirty deals. She pulled up in her dusty truck, eyes sharp, behind her glasses. Eli, she said, kneeling by the pipe. This is outright illegal. They're trespassing and draining your creek for their fake lake and sprinklers. Texas water is worth more than oil, and our creek feeds an aquifer for half the county. Clear Hollow was sipping our wealth without a cent paid. I needed evidence, ironclad evidence. So I rigged cameras, tucked into birdhouses, along our fence line. 4 nights later, I hit gold at 2A. My phone lit up. The footage caught Brad Thompson, Clear Hollow's maintenance man, scrawny as a coyote, with a sneaky grin, adjusting the pipeline. He dialed his phone, and I heard it, clear as day. Yes, Miss Lilton. It's locked in, flows steady. Cynthia's orders, stamped all over it. My fists clenched, but I stayed sharp. This video was my first bullet. I stormed to Clear Hollow's community center, photos and footage ready, to face the Queen. Their office, all glossy wood and framed awards, stared out at that fake lake, glittering in the sun. Cynthia kept me waiting, half an hour, like I was some delivery boy. Then she swaggered in, 50, obese, belly bulging, in her red t-shirt, black pants, blonde bob bouncing, like a bad haircut commercial. Eli, she purred, smile sharp, like a rattler's fangs. Come to accept our fair offer. Fair. What a joke. I dropped the photos on her desk. This is your pipeline, buried on my land, without permission. Her eyes darted to the images, then locked on me, cold and steady. A simple error. Eli, she said, voice slick, too slick. We have easements for our water system. We'll fix this. No fuss. Then, she slid over a document with my dad's name scrawled across it, claiming water rights from 2 years back. A forgery. Dad would have burned that paper. I drove home. That fake signature, like a knife in my gut. Mom was on the porch, gray hair loose, her face etched with fight. I showed her the document. Her hands shook. Your father never signed that, she said, voice low. They've been after our water forever. Last summer, in the drought, he saw the creek running too low and wondered. My throat tightened. Dad had sniffed their game. Never got his chance. I grabbed her hand. We're taking this. For him. Mom. Sarah tore into the forgery. Over coffee. At a dusty diner. This is fraud, she said, flipping through papers. The signature doesn't match your dad's on his will or deeds, and HOAs have zero claim over your land. These violation notices, she jabbed Dad's folder, stuffed with their nonsense. Just bullying to force a sale. I leaned forward, mind spinning. How do we hit back? Sarah's eyes sparked. Document every move. Cameras. Surveys. Every word they say. And check your land. Every day. HOAs. Twist boundaries. Like snakes. She was dead right. Days later, I found fresh dirt. Near the creek. They'd been back. My cameras caught Brad and 2 workers at one shrun. Me. Hooking up a bigger pump to the pipeline. Brad on his phone. Again. Miss Elton. We're cranking it. 30% more flow. 30%. They weren't just thieves. They were vultures. Bleeding our creek dry. I saved the footage. My second bullet. Locked and loaded. That night, I sat with Mom. Under a Texas sky. Stars bright. Like Dad's dreams. They think we're soft. Without him, I said. Voice hard. She squeezed my arm. Eyes burning. Your father raised you to fight. Eli. Show them what Morgans do. I nodded. A plan taking shape. Cynthia, with her red t-shirt straining, her fake easements, thought she'd crush us. But I wasn't. Some city coder. I was a rancher's son. And this land was my line in the dirt. I called Sarah. At dawn, get a surveyor to map that pipeline, every inch, and I want cameras on every corner. She agreed, but cautioned. Cynthia's got friends in high places. Eli, she'll swing when she's cornered. I didn't blink. Let her swing. I'd damn her whole operation and watch her choke. This wasn't just water. It was honor, family, truth. But Cynthia wasn't waiting. The next day, a certified letter landed in our mailbox, an HOA notice, demanding I attend a meeting to discuss environmental concerns from our ranch. A trap. They wanted me on their turf to twist the story. Mom's face hardened. They tried this with your dad. He went, and they ambushed him. I smirked. Then I'll go. Mom. But I'm bringing Sarah. And a recorder. Cynthia, with her jiggling belly and crocodile tears, was about to learn. I wasn't Dad, but I'd fight just as hard. Cynthia's forged document and her smug grin lit a fire in me. She thought She could steal our water and scare us off with fake papers and HOA muscle. But I was done playing defense. It was time to hit back hard. Sarah's warning about Cynthia's connections echoed, but I had my own team. Mom, with her unyielding spirit. Sarah, with her legal razor. And now, my sister Jennifer, a 32-year-old journalist who could sniff out lies faster than a bloodhound. Jennifer roared in from Austin, her laptop glowing, eyes fierce. "You're too nice, Eli," she said, slamming a stack of files on our kitchen table. "Cynthia's not just stealing water. She's got a history of bullying landowners into selling cheap." She flipped open a report from 2 other developments where Cynthia had been HOA president. Both times, nearby ranchers faced vandalism, code violations, and lowball offers until they caved. "She's a vulture," Jennifer said, voice sharp. My jaw tightened. Cynthia, with her red t-shirt straining and $300 blonde bob, was no amateur. Mom poured coffee, her hands steady, but her eyes burned. "Your father suspected her last summer. The creek was too low, even in drought. He planned to investigate." Her voice caught. I grabbed her hand. "We're finishing his fight, Mom." Jennifer nodded, pulling up a county bulletin on her screen. My heart stopped. The headwaters of our creek, a spring on a rocky hill, were up for sale. In 30 days, the water district would auction the rights. Whoever owned the source controlled the flow. Sarah, over speakerphone, broke it down. Texas water law is first in time, first in right. By that spring, and you hold the ultimate card. Clear Hollow could lose their supply or have to pay you for every drop. My eyes met Mom's. "Do it," she said, voice like iron. Jennifer grinned, like a kid with a new toy. We beat Cynthia at her own game. Buy it before she knows. Cynthia, with her belly jiggling and fake easements, wouldn't see this coming. We had to move fast and quiet. If Cynthia caught wind, she'd outbid us with HOA cash. Sarah connected me to Dave Wilson, head of the water board, a grizzled Texan who'd clashed with Cynthia for years. "That woman," he growled, "has tried to bribe my board since Clear Hollow broke ground." He couldn't help directly, but he spilled the bidding rules, every detail we needed. I set up an LLC, registered to Sarah's office, to hide my name. We bid $45,000 for a scrappy hill most would ignore, but for a spring feeding a luxury development, a steal. The deal closed. No hiccup, no other bidders. Cynthia hadn't noticed the tiny sale notice. I owned the headwaters, lock and key. Dave called, chuckling. Clear Hollow's buzzing about the sale. "They don't know. It's you." But Cynthia's mad as a wet hen. I pictured her, red t-shirt soaked, blonde bob flopping, screaming about her rights. My first win tasted sweet, but I kept it secret. The LLC shielded us for now. Cynthia didn't wait to strike back. The next morning, our tractor wouldn't start. Someone had poured sugar in the gas tank overnight. My cameras caught shadows in hoodies slipping off at 3 a.m. Then our mailbox was smashed, splinters everywhere. By dusk, red paint screamed, "Sell, hillbilly." Across our house, Mom's face hardened. Your father built this home with his hands. No puffed up HOA Queen will drive us out. I called Sheriff Miller, but he shrugged. No proof. Eli can't accuse. Clear hollow, without evidence. His eyes dodged mine. Cynthia's donations to his department tied his hands. Jennifer dug deeper into Cynthia's past. At our kitchen table, she uncovered a pattern. In those other developments, Cynthia's neighbors faced the same. Broken fences, slashed tires, fake code complaints, and always a sale below market. Then, a bombshell. Jennifer found an HOA newsletter from last year. Clear Hollow charged residents $300 a quarter for a water upgrade. Upgrade. They meant our stolen creek. My fists balled. They weren't just thieves. They were liars, pocketing cash from their own people. Sarah laid out our next move. We've got fraud, trespassing, and vandalism. But the headwaters are your trump card. Install a valve to control the flow. Do it legally, with permits, and you can choke their supply if they don't back off. I nodded, mind racing. A valve could turn Cynthia's world upside down. But first, that HOA meeting from her latest letter. A trap. Paint us as the bad guys. Sarah smirked. We go, Eli, but we bring the recorder and the footage. Let's flip their script. The meeting was at Clear Hollow's community center. A glass cage of smug faces. Cynthia waddled to the podium. 50. Obese. Red t-shirt tight. Black pants. Blonde bob gleaming. Under lights. Residents. She boomed. The Morgan Ranch threatens our community with its neglect. She flashed photos of our land, edited to look like a junkyard. The crowd murmured, angry. My stomach twisted. Then she turned, fake concern, dripping. Mr. Morgan, care to explain? Your plans. Plans. She was fishing to smear us. I stood, Sarah beside me, recorder in my pocket. I'd love to discuss real issues, I said, voice steady, like the illegal pipeline. Your HOA buried on my land, stealing our water, or the $300 fees you charge residents for that stolen flow. The room went quiet. Cynthia's smile froze, her belly quivering. That's absurd, she snapped. We have legal easements. I held up a USB drive. I've got video of your man Brad installing it on your orders 4 nights ago. Murmurs turned to gasps. Residents shifted, eyeing Cynthia. Sarah leaned in. We're filing for an injunction and fraud charges unless that pipeline comes out. Cynthia's face turned beet red, blonde bob shaking. This meeting is adjourned, she barked. But a few residents blocked the door. What fees? One shouted. Where's our money? Trap had backfired. Cynthia with her red t-shirt and fake tears, was losing her grip. We slipped out. Mission accomplished. But I knew she'd hit harder. Next, the HOA meeting had shaken Cynthia, her residents, starting to question her 300 water fees, and my footage of her illegal pipeline had cracked her armor. But I wasn't done. I owned the headwaters, the spring feeding, Clear Hollow's stolen flow. Now, it was time to play my ace. July's heat hit 103 degrees, baking Texas like a skillet. Perfect timing for a drought of my own making. Sarah moved fast. She filed permits with the water board to install a valve at the spring. It's legal, she said over the phone. You control the source. You control the flow. But, Eli, once you turn that valve, 342 homes lose water. Be ready for chaos. I nodded, staring at the creek. Its ripples, like Dad's quiet strength. Chaos is what Cynthia deserves. Jennifer, back from Austin, set up a live stream to broadcast whatever came next. Let's show the world her true face, she said, eyes glinting. The valve went in under cover of night. A contractor, loyal to Dave Wilson, bolted it to the spring with a remote switch linked to my phone. One tap, and Clear Hollow's pipes would run dry. I waited 3 days, letting Cynthia think she'd dodged my last move. Then, dawn on July 10th, I pressed the button. The valve clanked shut. By noon, Clear Hollow's fountains sputtered. Sprinklers coughed dust. Their fake lake shrank to a muddy puddle. 342 households woke to dry faucets in a heat wave. Cynthia didn't waste time. By 2 p.m., she led a mob to my gate, her red t-shirt soaked with sweat, belly jiggling, blonde bob limp under the sun. Eli Morgan, she screamed through a bullhorn. You're a criminal, starving our community. Her face beet red, eyes wild. 50 residents waved signs, shouting, turn it on. I stood calm on my porch, Mom beside me, her gray eyes steady. You stole our water. Cynthia, I called back. Remove your pipeline. Pay for what you took, and we'll talk. The crowd hesitated, some lowering signs. Jennifer streamed it all, her camera catching every word. Her footage went viral. By evening, racking up 1,000 views. Comments flooded in from across Texas. HOA crooks. Get 'em. Eli. Cynthia's mob started to splinter. A woman, Lisa Thompson, stepped forward, her face tired but firm. Is it true? She asked. Did the HOA steal your water? I nodded, showing her a photo of the pipeline. Lisa's eyes narrowed. Cynthia told us it was legal. Murmurs spread. The tide was turning. Cynthia doubled down. She called an emergency town hall at City Hall, demanding the mayor force me to open the valve. Sarah prepped me. She'll spin this to make you the villain. We bring evidence and stay calm. Mom ironed my shirt, her hands steady. Your father would stand tall today, she said. Jennifer uploaded more clips of Brad rigging the pipeline, tagging local news. By the time we reached City Hall, reporters swarmed, cameras flashing. The hall was packed. Clear Hollow residents. On one side, local ranchers. On the other, Cynthia waddled to the podium. 50, obese, red t-shirt tight, black pants, blonde bob slick, with gel. Mayor Hayes, she boomed. Eli Morgan is holding our community hostage. He's cut our water in a heat wave. The crowd roared, some clapping, others glaring at me. Mayor Hayes, a wiry man with tired eyes, raised a hand. Mr. Morgan, your response. I stood, Sarah beside me, USB drive in my pocket. Mayor, Cynthia's HOA buried an illegal pipeline on my land, stealing our creek. For years, they forged my father's signature to claim rights and charged residents $300 a quarter for stolen water. I plugged in the USB. The screen lit up with Jennifer's footage. Brad at midnight, Cynthia's voice on his phone. The room gasped. Lisa Thompson stood. You lied to us, she shouted at Cynthia. Where's our money? Cynthia's face purpled, her belly quivering. Lies, she shrieked. Morgan fabricated this, but the crowd wasn't buying it. Another resident, a retired accountant named Carl, waved a paper. I audited the HOA books. He said, Cynthia pocketed $2,000 from our water fees. The hall erupted, residents shouting, reporters scribbling. Mayor Hayes banged his gavel. Enough, Miss Elton. You'll answer to an investigation. Sarah leaned in. Demand terms. Eli. Now, I faced the mayor. Remove the pipeline. By next week, pay for 3 years of stolen water. And Cynthia apologizes publicly. The crowd murmured, some nodding. Cynthia stormed to the exit, blonde bob bouncing. But Lisa blocked her. You're not leaving until you explain. Cynthia shoved past, hissing. This isn't over. Morgan. I smirked, sipping water from my bottle. Oh, it was over. For her. By morning, the pipeline was being dug up. Under court order, Jennifer's videos hit 100,000 views, with news stations picking up the story. Lisa and Carl rallied residents to oust Cynthia from the HOA board. Sheriff Miller finally showed, inspecting vandalism on our ranch. Now that Cynthia's influence was crumbling, Mom watched workers rip out the pipe, her face glowing. Your father would have loved this day, she said, voice soft. But I wasn't relaxing yet. Cynthia was a snake, and snakes strike when cornered. Sarah warned me she'll try one last trick. Watch for sabotage or lawsuits. I checked the valve's security and added cameras to the spring. Jennifer kept digging into Cynthia's finances, hinting at deeper fraud. The headwaters were mine. But the fight wasn't done. Cynthia, with her red t-shirt and fake tears, had lost this round, but I knew she'd slither back unless I sealed her fate. Cynthia's empire was crumbling, her pipeline torn out by court order, her residents turning against her after Jennifer's videos exposed her lies and $2,000 in stolen fees. But I knew that snake, with her red t-shirt and blonde bob, wouldn't slink away quietly. Sarah's warning rang true. Cornered animals strike hardest, and Cynthia was about to show her final fangs. 2 days after the town hall, a new notice hit our mailbox. Clear Hollow claimed our creek was contaminated with chemicals threatening their health. A cease and desist demanded I stop polluting the water or face a $5,000 lawsuit. My stomach twisted. Contaminated. Our creek was pristine. Jennifer sniffed the trap. First, this reeks of Cynthia, she said. Laptop open. She's trying to flip the blame and scare you into selling. Mom's eyes blazed. Your father drank from that creek his whole life. It's pure as his heart. Sarah called in a favor. An independent lab tested the creek overnight. Results came back clean. No chemicals, no toxins. But the lab found traces of industrial cleaner in Clear Hollow's lake downstream. Jennifer dug into Cynthia's emails, hacked by an anonymous source. One message to Brad, dated 3 days ago. Dump the cleaner at their fence line. Make it look like their fault. My blood boiled. Cynthia wasn't just a thief. She was poisoning her own people to frame us. I took the evidence to Sheriff Miller. For once, he didn't dodge. Cynthia's grip on him was slipping as residents demanded audits. He searched Brad's truck and found empty cleaner cans matching the lab's report. Brad cracked under pressure. Cynthia told me to do it. He blurted. Miller issued a warrant. Cynthia was arrested at the airport, boarding a flight to Cancun. Her red t-shirt crumpled, blonde bob, a mess. Charges piled up. Fraud, forgery, environmental crimes. Her reign was over. Clear Hollow's residents, led by Lisa Thompson and Carl, the accountant, formed a new HOA board. They met me at the ranch under the old oak. Lisa's face was earnest. Eli, we were wrong to trust Cynthia. Name your terms for the water. I laid it out. A fair contract, freak access, back payments for 3 years of stolen flow, and funds to restore our vandalized land. They signed. That day, the deal was sealed with a handshake, not a forgery. The settlement was hefty. I used it to modernize the ranch. Solar panels, new irrigation, a small turbine in the creek for power. Mom suggested a bigger dream. Your father loved this land for its life. Let's share it. We carved out 5 acres for a nature trail, open to the public. The Morgan Water Conservation Trail, named for Dad, with signs teaching kids about aquifers and Texas springs. On opening day, families picnicked by the creek, their laughter like music. Mom, in a blue dress, smiled, her gray hair catching the breeze. He's here, Eli, she whispered. My eyes stung. He was. Jennifer's videos hit 1 million views, sparking calls for HOA reform across the state. She stayed to help, writing a story about Dad's fight and ours. Sarah took on pro bono cases for other ranchers facing greedy HOAs. Lisa's board audited every cent of Cynthia's accounts, recovering enough to refund residents their 300 fees. Clear Hollow became transparent, holding open meetings with real votes. The fake lake was drained, replaced with a community garden, fed by legal water from our creek. Cynthia's fate sealed tight. At her trial, residents testified about her threats, her lies. Carl's audit proved she'd siphoned HOA funds for personal trips, and that Cancun ticket she got 7 years for fraud and environmental tampering. Her red t-shirt traded for an orange jumpsuit. I didn't gloat, but justice felt right, like rain after drought. Her blonde bob wouldn't see a 300 salon for a while. The ranch thrived. The trail drew visitors from Houston to Dallas. School groups learning about conservation. I hired local kids to guide tours, sharing Dad's love for the land. The creek ran strong, its flow protected by our valve. And our name, Mom, spent mornings tending wildflowers along the trail, her face peaceful. This is what your father dreamed, she said. One evening, as sunset lit the hills, I nodded, throat tight. His dream was alive in every ripple, but I stayed vigilant. Sarah warned other HOAs might try Cynthia's tricks. I kept cameras on the spring and trained our new ranch hand to spot trouble. Jennifer built a website for the trail with a forum for landowners to share HOA horror stories. We weren't just a ranch anymore. We were a beacon for those fighting to keep what's theirs. One afternoon, I walked the trail alone. The creek sparkled under oaks, its song steady like Dad's voice. In my memory, I knelt by the water, touching its cool flow. We did it, Dad, I whispered. A breeze rustled the leaves like an answer. The land was ours. The water was free, and Cynthia's shadow was gone. I stood, chest full, ready for whatever came next. The Morgan Ranch wasn't just a place. It was a promise. Kept. That's it. My friends, the creek runs free and justice flows. Ever fought a bully like Cynthia and won? Drop your story in the comments. I'm dying to hear. Did this saga spark a fire in you. Smash that like button. It's a wave for every underdog, standing tall. And if you loved this Texas showdown, hit subscribe for more tales of grit and heart. Share this with friends who'd cheer for a rancher's revenge. Let's keep the fight alive together.